Coming to you live from the Stream.tv studios in Hollywood, California, Pensado's Place is brought to you by Vintage King, the Blackbird Academy, Avid, Recording Connection, Studio 202, Slate Media Technologies and Slate Digital, and Audio Technica.
2 words, Bob Clearmountain. Ruminate, pick yourself back off the floor. You damn right, he's right here. Gear Expo is popping, ASLA is popping, brand new ITL. You're at the place. It's Pensado's Place.
Yay. Hey everybody, glad you could drop by today. I'm very, very, very happy and
Big score, pal.
Anticipating
Big score.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it is. Yes, you do. That's what your email to me this morning said.
I know. Hey, you know what? One of the things I'm gonna get a little bit ahead of myself, but I can't wait. Today you're gonna see someone that heavily influenced what I do for a living, and we're gonna share some of that stuff with you. I can't wait.
It's gonna be good. Shall we get to it?
Let's do it.
Lots of stuff. Hey, gang, thanks always for joining us. We're excited about this week's show. Obviously, Dave and I feel we've got a very, very special guest. Close to the 90,000 subscriber threshold due to all your incredible efforts. 100,000 right around the corner. I know we say it every week, but this show is indebted to you. We thank you so much. Our sponsor partners are world-class, each and every one of them. Most, frankly, are busy working together on Gear Expo Nashville. Here's the details. The party is Saturday, September 27th at the Vintage King Nashville facility. This is a stunning shop inside full of the best gear and audio. The showroom gives you a chance to test drive gear, see what's new, A/B things, see what tools will enhance your growth. Outside, a full-on audio block party. Rockstar tour buses are going to give rides on the Pensado Express for really exclusive insider visits to probably one of the finest studios in the world, right?
The finest studio.
The Blackbird Studios, Audio Technica, and Avid, and Slate, and Recording Connection, all in the house with product giveaways, booths, T-shirts, a chance to meet and greet you. Studio 202 will be making sure you get your mug on TV. There will be food trucks, empanadas, beer, DJs, and an insane panel lineup. We're talking Jakir King, Kings of Leon and Hunger Games, Justin Niebank, Hunter Hayes, Rascal Flatts, Blake Shelton, Leslie Braithwaite, Happy, 2 Chainz, August Alsina. Matter of fact, Leslie might be hanging around someplace. Leslie, are you around there?
Yep.
Oh, Leslie, what's up?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Leslie.
Had to drop in on you guys.
I love it. So you coming up to Nashville on the 27th?
Oh, you know it. I'm excited about it. I had to just drop in real quick and just, get everybody pumped. I'm pumped. I had to get everybody else pumped.
Hey, Leslie, is that color behind you teal?
That would be a teal. Do you not like it?
I like it. No, I like it. I'm starting to. Oh, I like that better.
Ooh, it's like Virgin Airlines.
We're kind of high tech around here.
Yes, you are.
All blue.
Ah, sexy.
What color did you have the room when you mixed Happy?
You know what? My color scheme for Happy was this right here. I was right in somewhere in here, my aquamarine-ish situation.
That's gorgeous.
Somewhere around here.
I like it. I like it.
That's pretty cool. Hey man, we are so happy you're coming up. I know that you're talking to some friends down there and checking schedules. Might be a real cool DJ friend of his, Manny Fresh. He's talking to. We can't commit yet, right? You're talking to him, Les?
Yeah, we can't commit yet. Manny and I go way back. He and I are really good friends. He's my daughter's godfather, and so the only thing that would keep him from coming is some kind of scheduling issue. He has a lot of stuff going on around the country, so I'm working on getting him to come through. And can't promise you anything yet, but I mean, I'm working on it.
Can't tell you how much we appreciate you, man.
Les, thanks.
It's going to be a ball. We'll talk to you shortly.
All right,
Les.
Okay, Les. See you, man.
So that illustrious gentleman who is going to be, and much more, Matt Maher and Robbie Burrell. These are contemporary Christian Grammy and Dove winners from L.A. Rockers Stephen Slate and Ryan Hewitt. They're coming in. Session Nashville Wiz John. I call him J. Dub Willis. John plays on Kenny Chesney's records, Florida Georgia Line, Luke Bryan. For all you session guys who want to know how that business works, he'll be there. This morning I got off the phone with the premier vocal producer in the business, a guy named Cucarell, also in Atlanta. Cook said he'd be glad to come up. His clients, Rihanna, Shakira, Beyonce, Atlantic Records, they call Cook in to solve all kinds of things vocally, all confirmed.
And former guest of Pensado's Place.
And former guest of Pensado's Place. Are you interested in the live business? Danny Rosenbaum, who's Vice President of Morris Light and Sound, he'll be there. Super hot producer in Nashville, Dave Cobb, will be there. Nashville fixture and giant Vance Powell, Jack White, and Beck will be there. And if Pro Audio had a logo like Jerry West is on the basketball, it would be this guy right here, the master blaster himself, John McBride. So you want to just plug into his energy for 5 seconds. It will change your life.
More than that's illegal.
He is absolutely the best. So no matter what music you like, what audio field is your focus, take this opportunity to come, hang with giants, get your questions answered. Here's a chance for you to really expand your knowledge. Think we're done?
No.
Oh, hell no. Absolutely not.
Go for it, Ed McMahon.
Okay, let's go. No, that's not the role I play ever. The Rhinestone Rembrandt and fashion icon Manuel will be in the house. Now, this is a guy who dressed Elvis and Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan and a ton of others. He is Nashville and Americana music royalty. We'll be talking with him up on the panel, and some of his very special clothing will be on display.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
That's going to be really cool. His history is living history. And some of the jackets are going to be worn by some of the panelists. Stephanie Spitfire Willis will be interviewing a lot of you guys to see if you're having fun. We're going to put that stuff on the show while the event is going on. She is my sister, and she is a supernova of a talent. Get interviewed and meet her. Our vice presidents of prize giveaways, that would be Chongor Gauntz and Cole Nystrom. They have informed me that they will be giving away prizes from UA, Isotope, Avid, McDSP, Audio Technica, Slate, Vintage King, Recording Connection, Ultimate Ears, and ultimately, and apparently, they're not done yet. So get your buns there and win something, damn it, because we're getting a lot of stuff there to give to you. And finally, there's two other guys who would like to see you. Me and Dave.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I want a lot of my Atlanta friends to show up because I don't get a chance to get out there too often. So it'd be fun to see some Atlanta guys.
So we'd love to see you. Get your Gear Expo signed. Say hello to us. Let's take a flick. We sure appreciate you, and we're going to come down and prove that with you and hang with you. And because of our incredible partners, this is all free. This is Pensado style, is how we do it. So all you have to do is go to gearexponashville.com. You can see that link right here. Put in your email, and you are good. That's all you got to do. Response has been bananas, so take my advice. Get cracking seriously, load up, and get there. As you go to the site, we'll have information for parking. We'll have a shuttle that'll get you to the event. As you know, ladies, we always ask you to come out in droves. We appreciate you. We know that you care about audio and stuff like that. But also there'll be a bunch of hot guys there. You make our events better.
It's going to be engineers. None of them are going to be hot.
Trust me, we'll hook it up. Did you see the Pensado Awards? Hot.
I did, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Now, while your calendar's out, let's mark two other dates. Immediately after Gear Expo Nashville, I think it's September 29th through October 3rd, Dave Pensado himself will be at Blackbird Studios for a week doing their Blackbird Session Series. Again, that's September 29th through October the 3rd. This is an immersive deep dive with the man himself. Plus our man Cole Nystrom is going to be down there as a very talented added bonus. You want information on that, hit Karma at theblackbirdstudios.com for all the info. That's CARMA at blackbirdstudios.com. She will help you with details. The other calendar event is what I mentioned in the opening, and that's the AES convention in LA. That's October 9th through 12th. This convention is going to be in hipster downtown LA. It's going to have a ton of cool and innovative workshops. Pensado's Place is, we're honored to be the focus of their Platinum panel on October 10th at 2 o'clock. We thank them for featuring us, and we're going to have some special announcements during that panel as well. The AES Brass, which is Bob Moses and Michael McDonald, are giving you guys a special VIP code that gets you into this for free. Kudos to them, and I like that we're able to do that for you. Here is the code. You'll see it right here. It's aes.org/Pensado. Register at aes.org/Pensado and come see us. Quick tip. You guys might consider joining this organization. Dave and I have sat with the brass. We've done some due diligence, and we're impressed with what they're trying to do.
You know what? Yeah, when I first started engineering, they have resources that if you want to dive a little deeper, you've got amazing resources available to you. Like I was self-taught, so I had huge gaps in my knowledge, and AES was always there for me. And by the way, it's easier than ever now to get into an AES convention. When I was a kid, I had to sneak in, Herb Trowick style. And now you can just take advantage of these offers we're giving you. So it's something you need to be a part of. And another reason I like it is because they guard a lot of things that are important to us that we don't ever see in here. They really make sure that this thing we love called audio is represented in Congress. A lot of things they do really, really well, standards and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, you need to do it. You need to do it.
You will be very impressed. They are current, relevant, and becoming really vital. Great job and kudos to them.
The new people there are great.
Really good. Also at AES, we'll be at the Audio Technica booth Saturday at 1 p.m. The good folks there are launching 2 super hot products. We're going to test drive them this weekend, capture some content. We'll share that content with you, but knowing what they're sending us, these are going to be hot rods, gang. I just guarantee you. So we'll deal with that this weekend. So good stuff going on. Remember, Platinum Panel on Friday, 2 o'clock, October 10th. Audio Technica booth on Saturday at 1 p.m. We'll be doing an Ask Me Anything session for Reddit and a hot product introduction. And finally, before we introduce the new ITL, our boys up at Avid, Anthony Gordon called and said, look, man, not everybody's going to get a chance to go to Nashville. Why don't we give out some Pro Tools 11? So for the next consecutive 3 or 4 weeks until we head to Nashville, each week we're going to give away a Pro Tools 11 to somebody. So pretty simple. Go to pensadosplace.tv/Avid, enter your email, but also go to their Facebook page and like it. All right, so do those 2 things.
That helps us.
And helps us, helps you, helps them, helps the show come to you for free. We'll give the first winner out next week, and I think I'm done.
I'm up to Pro Tools 14.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It's good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Could you describe the changes?
Yeah, you put on a helmet and you go kind of bathroom style, and
Okay.
your mix just goes out into the world.
So you don't have to, so do you touch anything while you're?
No. It creates
just-
an MP20.
Okay.
And of course that goes out to the world.
I see, so it's,
But Bob Clearmountain knows all about that.
oh, cool, so only you 2 guys have it. Okay, can we do an ITL on that?
Let's do it.
Okay, well, why don't you introduce this week's ITL?
Okay. This week's ITL, I'm using some new things that I had not used before to show you how to mix keyboards and B3s, sometimes known as organs. Hey guys, what's up? Glad to have you with us again for another Into the Lair. Today I want to show you a myriad of things. I'm going to show you some free plugins, how to use them. I'm going to show you how to enhance some keyboards. Now I'm going to use a Hammond B3 that my good buddy Myron McKinley played, and you might know Myron from his Earth, Wind and Fire work. What I want to show you will apply to any keyboard, and actually this stuff will apply to guitar quite nicely. So I've got this, as you can see here, I've got a stereo organ track, and this is a little bit of supplemental information just to fill in the center channel. Now let me play it for you without, disregard this track up here, 113, disregard that for now, we're going to use it in a minute. But I'm sending to that track via bus 53 and 54. Let me play it for you as I got it. Okay, now the first thing we did was add a little bit of Chris Lord algae on this this little bad boy. Check this out. Okay, one of my new favorite plugins is this Ultra Channel. Go to the Eventide website because sometimes you can get some real bargains on this. This was free for a while. By the time you see this, I don't know if you will be able to get it free. Now, all of these modules can be interchanged, so you can slide this guy anywhere you want it in the chain. It's got an omnipressor, classic compressor. It's got a gate. we're not using any of this. We're using the EQ and a little bit of the micro pitch shift. So here's, I'm gonna play you the part and put this on. Here's what we've done, kind of smoothed it out a bit. You can see the curve here. Now this is where the fun part comes in. My friend Russ Hughes over at, and Mike and the guys over at Pro Tools Expert, I live over on that website, and turns out this is a free plugin that comes with Pro Tools. Didn't even know it. Now, I'm not using the keyboard, but I'm using the Leslie simulator. Now, what we're doing is, what's an organ without a Leslie, right? So I've come up with a preset I like, and let me show you this. I'm going to feed to this guy with this. I swear to you, I just got goosebumps. That's pretty amazing. Check it out again, with and without. A little bit of volume difference, but you get. But check this out. You have your fast, and you have all the different things you've got on a Leslie. Fast and slow for the rotors. You've got, oh man, just everything. If you've got Pro Tools, use this. It's really good. Now, I'm also simulating a bit of a 147 here. You see what it says? This is a preset, 147. I'm tweaking this too, so. Subtle, and then I'm smoothing it out here. Let's take all this off on just this auxiliary track. Man, let me exaggerate it so that you can hear it a little better. I wanted it to be a little more subtle, but let's exaggerate. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, now remember, this can be used on any keyboard, any guitar. It's a technique that I'm showing it to you on an organ because an organ, an old B3 sound, has a bit of a guitar tone to it, and it has a bit of a synth tone to it, has a little bit of a keyboard tone to it. So not just for B3s, this stuff's for everything. And then you kind of see the way I think and build sounds and get it to where it's going to be unique and sit in the mix really well. All right, next time.
Wow. There's just no need to get flowery. This is a great week for us, one that we're kind of buzzing about. Certainly our whole staff is. Yeah. Look him up. No need to explain. We are just thrilled to welcome to our desk the one, the only, Bob Clearmountain. Bob.
Hi.
Hi, man. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I should do something like that.
So I did it already.
You did already?
For both of us.
Okay, cool.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you.
Oh, we love it.
You don't know this, but I had to go over to Bob's and do some housework. I cleaned his car, washed his car. I exercised
you missed a couple spots.
Good. Good. Oh, you're going to win batter's box.
I exercised every knob on his G+.
Really?
Yeah, that takes time.
Well, you're going to hear a thump in a minute. That's Will Thompson falling over, our producer. Yeah. And you know what's cool is generally the greats are the most humble and the coolest.
Bob certainly exemplifies that concept.
Yeah, absolutely. Class act.
Class act.
Absolutely.
Can I talk to him now?
Fire away, sir.
Okay. Bob, again, thanks for coming by, my friend.
Thank you.
One of the things that I encountered that I was hoping you could help me solve is, not at your level, but when you're working on a guest when you're working on an artist like U2 or the Stones or Bruce Springsteen, and you've had such success with them in the past, when you do a modern record like the great record you just did with the Stones, how much of the past do you pay attention to, or do you ignore it and try to make a record based on the way you're thinking now? Or does the past affect you when you're working on a modern record?
The only way the past affects me is it's just what I've learned about their tastes and what they like and how they want to be presented. And that will certainly influence me because, I already have some idea of where to go. But I try to make everything unique, you know, and I try to let them, whatever they've recorded, show me the way itself, you know. I mean, a lot of times like with Springsteen once in a while, I'll really think, okay, I got this guy now down. I've mixed so many records for him and so many live shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then he'll completely throw me and say, no, that's totally wrong. It sounds too, he'll usually say it sounds too good.
Really?
Yeah, he'll want it rougher and more, you know, not hear everything really clearly.
When it says it sounds too good, is it because the sounds are pristine, or is it because the proportional ratio of everything is mixed so tightly, or what is it? What do you mean by that?
I tend to want to hear all the instruments clearly, and sometimes with a lot of people with Springsteen music in particular, he won't want that. I mean, sometimes he does want it. Very often he'll want it. Like listen to Born in the USA, and it's all pretty clear.
Yeah.
God, that song changed. That mix changed my life.
But he in the later years, he really goes for a rougher sound, I think, and where you just can't distinguish a lot of what the parts are. That it's just a kind of a massive sound, you know.
I don't know if you can even answer this question, but in making it sound rougher, is there one thing you can share with me that you start at to make it? I wouldn't know where to start to make it rougher. I'd just.
Sometimes it's difficult, you know. It's it's mostly turn up Bruce's guitar.
Oh, I gotcha.
And it's not an ego thing. It's not like he wants to hear his guitar louder.
Yeah.
It's just that if you solo his guitar, you'll understand why.
Right.
And he calls it the primal scrub because it's just nasty.
Yeah. Well, his right hand has a defining rhythm to the track too.
That's right.
That's
that's
interesting. I would
so
never
much.
guess that.
Yeah.
So much of the what the band does is based around what he does. It's all based around what he does, obviously.
Does he correlate when he's hearing you mix in the studio that there is some feeling of live for him? Is that important to him in his records? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I mean, Born in the USA was basically a live album.
Completely.
That they recorded in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some overdubs on it for sure, but the band, when he records most of the time with the E Street Band, it's the band playing live as they all play together.
And the other thing, because I see it in his career, is when you have those relationships that go back, one of the dynamics is trust. They come to you, there's a comfort level, and then the obligation is to try to move it forward and keep it relevant and keep it new, but also maintain the trust. That you have to navigate that dynamic, correct?
Oh yeah. It's I mean, you're always trying to bring something new, of course, as much as possible. But I guess so.
Yeah.
Hey Bob, while we're on Born in the USA, that snare sound, when I first heard that, I had the thought of maybe not trying to be an engineer any longer, and then the competitive part of me caught hold, and I'm like, I can beat this. Well, I never did. Can you break down for me, one of the things about that snare sound that I really like is the way you use reverbs on snares. I know this is a minute little compartment of your skill set, but for me it was a big thing whether to put reverbs on there's going to be a question here somewhere, whether to put reverbs on snares, and when you did, what was your thought process when you added reverb to that? Was it an AMS at the time?
I think we were sampling, actually. It was the early days of sampling when I used an AMS.
Okay.
And the reverb was it was a plate. We had plates. We had a power station with 2 live chambers, and depends on what song you're talking about. I mean, Bruce is really into making it bigger than whatever, just as big as it could be. And he was always pushing. And I remember he had. There was a great sound that they got on the song "Glory Days" on the original recording, and that was so we didn't use a sample on that, but it would always on one of the ones that was recorded maybe at Hit Factory or something that didn't have the big room. He'd say, "Bobby, let's pull out that Glory Day snare drum. Let's put that Glory Day snare drum on this one."
Wow.
And so we'd.
Do you still have that sample?
I don't know. I might. But
You can ask,
I don't
right?
know if I have it or not. I don't think I do. No, I don't think I.
Did it make it into the Bob Clear Mountain Drum Collection 1 and 2?
No.
Is it going to make it in 3? Is there going to be a 3?
You can't. It's the thing about it's interesting about the drum collections is that when Doug Rogers from East West first came to me to do it, he said, "Oh, we really like to put all your favorite samples on a." And well, okay, I talked to my attorney and my manager, who was a publisher, and they said, "You just can't do that because the thing about sampling, and this is the thing that nobody got back then, was that once a sound is recorded on an album and it's put out by a label, the label then owns the sound. Even if you recorded it yourself in your living room."
Yeah.
And and not for anybody. Once you use it on a record, it's
their
owned by
property.
whoever put the record out. So you can legally never use it again.
Yeah. That's
And so all the samples on those we recorded fresh, and they're licensed. When you buy the sample CD, it's the same with all sample records or collections now. You're buying a license to use them.
That's right. That's right.
You don't own them.
I can't remember, help me, but you did one of the big live shows. I can't remember if it was Live Aid or Bangladesh. Did that sample make it into that show? Seems like I heard that sample in one of your
Live Aid, I was using
Live
a
Aid.
sample, but it would
was.
have been from Simple Minds, I think, because that's what I was doing at the time. It wasn't.
I was going to get excited because it seems like I heard that sample in that live program, but I didn't.
It wasn't. It wouldn't have been that. No, I wouldn't have used.
Could you just
Springsteen
lie
sample.
and make me feel good about it?
Yeah, because I actually didn't
think it was
record.
that, actually.
I didn't record that album, so it was. But the Simple Minds, it did.
What were you
produce
triggering with, the 1580?
I think it was a 1580, yeah. And then there's a funny story about that. Is that when Live Aid, the first band was, I forgot the name of the band. It was some band from Philadelphia. But, I had the thing all set up.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, just in case there's a problem with the snare, I can just put this in. But of course, I had the fader up. And I had it all, this big Simple Minds snare drum, Mel Gaynor snare drum, loaded up in the thing. And so it starts out with 4s on the snare drum. I go, okay, I didn't know this song. And then I look up at the monitor, and the guy's cross-sticking. Oh, shit.
Wow.
Really embarrassing.
That's
So for like the first, 6 bars or something like
That's
that.
hilarious.
It's hard to recover from something like that.
It was live, going out live, to millions of people.
So one of the things that I know is important to you, and we talked about before the show started, is Apogee. Talk about that relationship and how it works in Bob Clear Mountain's life.
Well, the converters are such everything's digital nowadays, right? And I think since analog went away, people are always looking, something's missing from the digital conversion, and a lot of people don't even realize what it is. That I really want to do everything analog because this digital stuff is too clinical and too. But once Apogee came along, it kind of changed all that, and it's only gotten better over the years. The latest Apogee products are just they're the most musical sounding thing. I mean, for me to start with. I'm mixing analog on an analog desk, so everything's got to come through, get that way somehow. And I start with something that's already in really good condition, and it makes a difference as to how much you EQ, how much you process. The more you process, the more flaws in the conversion you hear, and when it's perfect, and it just makes my job so much easier.
You said one time that for the recording medium to make decisions about the sound of your mix really irks you. So what you're describing is the Apogee equipment's not making decisions about the sound, you are.
Well, that's in the old days when all we had was analog. I felt that the analog was, analog has a sound, and a lot of people really like it. And there's nothing. I certainly don't put anyone down for that, but I don't want the recording medium to be coloring the sound for me.
And one of the things that we always could tell when we sit at this desk is our guests have been a pretty illustrious set, and we hear the things that they rely on and that they think are good, and we hear apogee a lot.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we definitely hear apogee a lot.
Definitely.
Cool.
Are there any instruments or tracks that you just don't like to mix? And conversely, what's your favorite thing to mix?
Well, I'll mix anything, whatever. I don't care what it is; it doesn't matter, and I'll figure out a way to do it. But a lot of the, I get a little bored with loops sometimes, like drum loops. You know, especially the ones that you've heard a million times. It's like, oh, that one again. Okay, you know, and
Funky drummer. Okay.
right, and some synthesizer sounds just kind of, they're like fingernails in the chalkboard to me. And I'm very organic based, you know. I'll never get tired of a Hammond organ,
Right.
or a great Strat through a AC30 or something like that. Those sounds don't ever bore me.
Yeah.
But some synthesizer sounds kind of, you can get on my nerves a little bit. But like I said, you make it work. You go, okay, this is what it is, and
Work around it.
you work around it. And what was the other question about? Sounds I really like.
Yeah, the opposite.
Well, like a Hammond organ,
Or a Strat.
a Strat through an AC30, and a great set of drums. You know, somebody that
Okay,
really.
just let me know when you're done. I'll be right back.
That's right. Yeah.
Going back to my snare reverb question, what when you add reverb to a snare, it sounds to me like you mess with the diffusion on the digital when you use digital snares. What parameters are you adjusting to get the sound that you want on like on the new Stones record and the old Cure record?
I did one single for the Cure. You know?
Oh,
And,
the question's still valid.
yeah. I don't know if I do that much adjusting. I mean, there's certain sounds.
Lately, are you
I
using?
mean, usually I'll have a couple of reverbs. Like I'll have something short and bright, like my live chambers are short and fairly bright, like Motown or something like that. And then I'll have something longer, and then something even bigger and longer. And I'll use combinations of them, and not just for snare drum. I mean, I usually try to keep everything somewhat in the same environment, so the snare drum's not going to get anything more unique than anything else, really.
I got you. So you're using 3 verbs. You start off
more.
with, or more.
Sometimes.
So are they all panned left and right, or are they panned in different spots? Like your 2 chambers are probably left and right?
Yeah, that's right. And then the verbs are all. I mean, I'm mixing everything in surround as while I'm mixing stereo, and so they're all kind of surround reverbs. Or I mean, I have a couple old PCM 70s that I use the sort of left and right actually. And
What preset do you like? Tile Room?
I got this thing that there was a guitar player in the band that I worked with years ago, had this sound printed on for a piano track, and I thought, wow, what a beautiful thing. I thought it was some kind of MIDI synthesizer thing. He goes, oh no, it's this PCM 70. It's a concert hall with some chorusing on it. And I go, oh well, there's one over there. Why don't you just? And he set it up, and I wrote the settings down, and they've been like that ever since.
Been good ever since.
Yeah, and it's this beautiful piano sound.
So tell me to move on if I'm boring you, but I don't get this opportunity too often. But so you start with a chamber. The chamber will take you like maybe up to a half a second to a second. Do you pre-delay the next reverb out of the way of that, and then it starts, or they all start concurrently? Concurrently.
Very good.
No, they're just kind of on top of each other.
Okay.
Sometimes they're delayed. I mean, I don't do the same thing every time. I adjust them depending on what's going on. The live chambers I don't adjust much, but I'll brighten it or dull it down sometimes, depending on what it is.
It sounds like as you are going through your process and your workflow, it's how it feels and how it sounds.
Well, it is, you know, and I use Altiverb a lot nowadays because they're just natural room sound, which I always gravitate towards anything that's more realistic sounding.
Yeah.
And so I kind of use my live chambers. I also use our other studio, the Apogee studio. We've done an impulse response of that, and so I use that quite a bit for just a warm ambience. And so that's kind of a lot of times the first thing you hear. on guitars and things like that. And
One last reverb question. When you're using reverb to someone that has never, like a guy starting out engineering, they tend to, and I know because I used to be that person, you tend to just add reverb because you think you're supposed to.
Right.
When you're adding reverb to a sound, you intimated that Bruce liked you to do that to make things bigger. What is it that your ear is trying to catch and understand when you add reverb to, say, an instrument or a vocal? What are you listening for?
It's more of a thing I'm in my mind looking at. It's more like a stage. I just try to imagine the space that either the band is in, or the singer, or the story of the song. Sometimes it's more based on the lyric and what the vibe of it is. It's about. It's how just building an environment. I mean, I like mixing dry too, like Chad said on your show. You know, he's a reverb. Why?
That was great.
A lot of times I feel that. You know, I'll just mix. If I can, I'll mix completely dry. I mean, it's hard to do that. It's hard to. You have to have a very special piece of music to be able to do it. Like Steely Dan used to do it all the time, but they were Steely Dan.
Right.
They were unbelievable. Right. But so it really changes so radically depending on the piece of music. I just mixed a couple albums that were nothing but reverb. It seemed like, and it seems like reverb's kind of come back with a vengeance lately. You know, there was a while there in the 80s or the 90s, I think, where everything got real dry. Yeah. And now, turn on KCRW, and everything's just floating.
It's true.
I'm wondering if that's. I wonder if you're to blame to that because
I'll take the blame.
The Roxy Music record was wet.
Yeah.
And after I heard that record, I had to mix with a snorkel. I mean, I was like, right, Wizard? I was like, man,
Sorry,
I put reverb on pasta. I put reverb on everything.
Well, I hope you didn't joke or anything. That reverb.
And that's what I'm more than this. Hey guys at home, go not right now, but after we're done, go check out Roxy Music More Than This off of the Avalon album. That's one of the seminal records that changed my life. Another one that Bob did.
Well, that was, you know what that was? It was the Stairway at Power Station.
No, Joe. Did you compress it?
No. It's
So it
just
was
the
that
way
long?
it sounded. It was like 4 seconds, depending on how humid it was that day, if it was raining or not.
Really?
It would go between 4 and 5 seconds.
The humidity would affect it.
Oh, big time. I'd
I've
mix the
always
ballads
joked
on
about
rainy
that.
days.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
fascinating.
That's a headline.
Oh, no question. No question.
It was amazing. A 75-foot stairway. We had a couple of big 604Es in there. You know, those big red speakers, and pointing down, but the mics were way up at the top, and so it would the sound would just do this crazy thing. It was just a magnificent sound.
Wow.
I'll give you one opportunity to blame it on Brian Ferry, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. What was funny was the next album I mixed after that was a band called the Divinals from Australia.
I Touched Myself?
No, it was,
that was their hit song.
That was their hit song.
That was their hit
why do you
song.
not tell
Explain
Bruce
it. I
that?
just was.
Unfortunately, I didn't have any part of that because that was a great song. But no, this is years before that, and I just finished mixing Avalon with these big lush reverbs and big hi-fi sounds, and so I started mixing this record, and everything was lush and big, and you know these guys are looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Finally, they look. Can we talk to you for a minute after the two mixes? Because listen, we're not big and hi-fi. We're like a little spiky ball, you know, that's like jagging and annoying and you know, very small and kind of. And I was like, and then I listened. I go, oh shit, they're so right. I was completely wrong. And then I went back and remixed, and then.
What's your technique for purging all the last stuff from the last project? Because I have trouble with that too.
You just have to, you know, think again.
Yeah.
That's all. You just gotta. That's
really
part
true.
of what we do. I
That's
think.
pretty cool.
You know what I mean? And somebody's got to slap you in the face and say, "Come on, what the hell's wrong with you?"
Yep. Yep. That's true.
I'm gonna put you a little bit on the spot, Bob, like I haven't already. But tell me if you think this is an accurate statement. We can talk a lot about specific techniques and that'll help a lot of people. But I think we can help them more by explaining to them your philosophy about mixing to the story, letting the song tell you what to do. Those deep philosophical concepts that have made you who you are. I'm gonna take a little bit of time. Like I said earlier, I copied your techniques as best I could, which was poorly. And what I liked about your sound, the problem was you changed every song and had a different technique and a different sound, and I'm chasing something that's just not going to work out. So it set me. I was halfway kidding, but it kind of set me back because I idolized his work so much, and I wanted to catch up because I was already late to the party, and then after probably about 5 years of that, I realized he's not even trying to do that. He's trying to make the song sound better. He's trying to make me feel something, want to own this and cherish it. Can you amplify that concept? And
you said it so much more.
Well, how do you do that? How do you let the story in the song tell you what to do? Is it a function of your taste and your experiences and your musicality? I
think it's just taste. I really do. It's I mean, once you know what the gear does, I mean, I don't even think the gears, I hate to say it, I know there's a lot of gear freaks out here, but it's not all that important. It is more about the feeling and how you relate to the music and how, if you're getting it. I mean, sometimes it's having a good conversation with the artist or the writer or the producer, whoever you're working with. And then it's like letting the music speak to you. It's not about soloing the bass drum. That's for damn sure. I mean, you go through and you figure out what, I mean, for me, as a mixer, as you know, if you haven't heard the piece of music yet, you put the thing up and you go through and you kind of listen to the rough mix maybe, and you go through and you listen to what all the characters are in the play. That's how I kind of think of it.
Well, that's kind of a neat way to do it.
Yeah, they're all sort of characters, and what's the contribution of each one. And sometimes a couple of them don't even belong in the story, and so
out to go.
I love that.
Get rid of that.
Thanks for sharing that. That's mind-boggling. I like the part where you say some of them don't even belong in the story, because that's probably the most germane part of the process is what not to use.
That's right. It can be. And then figuring out. I'm into stereo, right? And so I go through and figure out, okay, what's the staging like, and where do these guys come in? What door does this guitar come in on? And I might be too metaphorical there. I don't know,
but I like it.
But kind of that's how I think about it. And once you get that, and you get sort of a balance, and it's funny with stereo, the balance isn't always that you got to have something equal on both sides. Yeah. But sometimes the verse will have something more dominant on the left side, and then the chorus will have something more dominant on the right side.
Expand on that. I'm not following you.
Well, just I know some mixers always have to, if there's something going on the left.
Yeah, I'm a slave to that sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta have to have something kind of equal on the right, but sometimes it doesn't have to be simultaneously equal. Like one part of this, the verse could have something on the left, and then the B section might have something answering it on the right.
Gotcha.
Like that. It's like, to me, that's because I'm sitting in the middle. For a lot of people that listen to music, they're probably off in the kitchen and it doesn't matter much to them. But to me, that's kind of important, and it makes a clearer picture, and it makes it easier to take in everything. And plus the fact, then of course the voice is usually in the center, which is the most important thing, and so that there's this hole in the center. I try to make a place for the voice so that you can actually have a lot going on, but it's never getting in the way of the story of the song.
The
communication.
You had a question?
Well, no, I was just what our audience is having is the opportunity to understand an art form that the current crop of upcoming folks may not get that lesson. How important the song is, how important to allow it to be your guide, how to serve it, and so on and so forth. And sometimes I think that craftsmanship gets lost because we have so much technical stuff available to us.
Well, the technical stuff isn't. Don't get hung up on the technical
stuff. It services it. It's not your main thing.
And the geared thing is like, which compressor you use. Right. Okay, you go plug something in. How's that sound? That sounds all right. Yeah, fine. move on. Don't obsess about. I hear these stories about people will sit there and they'll try, 8 different compressors until they actually decide on the right. It's like, really? You're going to waste all that energy and time on? They all do pretty much the same thing. I mean, they sound a little different, of course, but I'm just not that picky. I'm really not.
Well, you're selective about what you focus on. Would probably be the way I would see it.
Yeah.
In terms of
exactly.
You're
so
following your
right.
work so closely.
And also, it's something both of you say all the time. Sometimes it's about taste.
It's just taste.
It's taste. You and I have that conversation all the time, and you propel that, and you exemplify that, and that's not about that compressor or this reverb
unit.
It's
about a specific thing.
Yes.
I got a few things that I don't have a lot of gear. I just have a few bits of things.
Is there one piece of gear to be devil's advocate and slightly Oscar Wilde traditional smartass? Is there any one piece of gear that you feel uncomfortable doing without?
Yeah, I'm probably
doing a mix with.
Besides
the SSL.
Yeah, the SSL, of course, the computer and the SSL is a big thing for me. Mm-hmm. But the LA3A is just such a great vocal compressor. And I go between that and, most people use 1176. I have 3 1178s, which are basically stereo 1176s, which I actually like better. For some reason, when I use an 1176, it never sounds right to me. It could be just I'm used to the 78.
What would sonically be the difference to you?
It's just something about, because I use it on a snare drum most of the time with the parallel compression with that. And there's just something about the snap it gives me that I just really like. And it does a nice thing for the vocal, which is very similar to the, it's probably almost the same on a vocal, 1176.
When you're using a compressor on a snare, how do you set? What's your philosophy on the release time? Are you putting the release time of the compressor?
Pretty fast.
So, but does that affect the feel or the timing?
Yeah.
So that's what you're using to set with, is the release time to set the timing?
The important part is more the attack time, I think, because that's how much actual snap you get. So I usually keep that about 3 o'clock, and then the release time a little bit faster.
That's kind of slow.
That's slow, really? Yeah, well, yeah, for attack time, I guess it kind of is, because if it's any faster than that, then there's not the attack is too quick.
Okay.
There's not enough meat to it.
So,
to me,
going back to your visualization, you're visualizing the attack of the snare, and then I don't know if I'm doing this correctly, and then as the sound starts to come down a little bit, that's where the compressor would grab it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then bring up the tail end.
And then that extends it, and then the release lets you. That's fascinating.
I guess so. I don't know. I just turned it up.
It
sounds right. I go,
cool.
well, that sounds good. I don't think about it like that too much. I just know that there's a certain point in that attack time where I got the meat of the snap on the snare drum, but it's not destroying the tail end of it.
I hope this is funny to everybody else. It was funny to me today.
You're a better mixer than me. You know
No. I am you, but a third-rate version. That's probably what you're liking. You described the importance of gear, and I understand that because I followed your career. But the temptation sometimes to have that piece of gear that someone of your status uses, and having that be the only difference between me being as good as you is just too tempting. So I'm reading a Maureen Droney interview on you, and you mentioned the Funk Logic. I immediately Googled the Funk Logic, and I'm trying to find it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find it, and then of course, at some point, I understood what you meant and why you said it, and I got caught. I'm like, why am I chasing gear when I should be trying to talk to Bob about these things? Anyway, good one. You guys figured out for yourself the inside joke.
Yeah, so I put everything through my Funk Logic.
You got me.
It started with the first Kool and the Gang record back in '74.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Oh, man,
You
got
research here.
But
research.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know what, Bob? It's just we love gear. I know you love gear, and they're tools. It's a hammer, a carpenter, a screwdriver, and all that. And you always want a better hammer. You always want a better screwdriver. And sometimes you still get caught in wanting that one piece of gear that's going to just change everything for you. And it hasn't come yet, but I'm still looking.
The piece of gear is really the computer and the G series for me.
And this guy up here.
And nothing else does that. That's what that does.
As you loosen up your arm for batter's box, so it's 2014, we're going into 2015. What excites you about where we are musically for, what can they hear for guys that are coming up? Like, I'll give you an example. I went from when we started the show to being sort of, I don't know where the business is going, and it seems unexciting, and it's just, there's compressed rate. And now I'm re-enthused about what's going on and some of the musical opportunities and some of the daring stuff that artists are doing. How do you see it? Are you enthused?
Well, obviously, it's about the reverb business.
Of course. Oh, yeah. It's about that one piece of gear.
That's a tough question because
Are you optimistic?
isn't much. No.
Okay. Cool. All right, guys.
really.
The industry's over. See you later.
No, of course not. But yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm hopeful. Let's
Okay.
put it that way. I'm hopeful that something exciting is going to happen, and I think something will. I don't know what it is.
Do you still
You
get?
know, I'm hoping that and it seems like it's happening, that live music is
Absolutely.
making a comeback.
Absolutely.
And I think part of it is actually because of the internet. I mean, the internet's gutted the music business, as we know. Because there's a lot of crazy people out there that think, oh, music should be free. Yeah, right. Okay, and but now, because records don't make any money, everybody's out on the road.
It's live business.
And I think that's fantastic, because this is what I love. I mix probably more than half of what I do are live concert videos.
Wow,
I
that
do
much?
a lot of stuff
And
I just love doing it. It's just so much fun. Even if it's music that I've heard over, I mean, I must have mixed, I can't tell you how many Stones and Springsteen
Sure.
live concert videos I've mixed.
Sure.
And every time it's so much
Feels
fun. I
good to
just love doing it,
And I think that's where we see, because we get the opportunity to sit with people weekly, the way I put it is the record business is in trouble. The music business is
It's doing
evolving and
fine.
going other things.
That's
And that's
true.
what I'm optimistic about. Does that
It's
make sense to you?
Yeah, and I think it's good, and I think people should get out and listen to live music.
Absolutely. We see it
You
in
know
the
what I mean?
EDM world. That
I-
whole dance thing is incredibly.
And I hope that more artists, you get a lot of these artists that you have to make stems for them, for all the things that are on the record, so that they can make their live show sound exactly like the record. And I hope people get away from that.
Me too.
Because I'll make a record, and then I'll go to see them, or I'll listen to a record, and I'll go to see them, and I don't want to hear the record. I want to hear people playing music.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I want them to play the guitars and play the drums, and I want them to change it.
Exactly.
I want them to extend them
Absolutely.
the middle eight or whatever it is,
Absolutely.
and change the
Absolutely.
arrangement and
Absolutely.
make
Bob,
it
you
more
know,
interesting.
You and I, if we consider this particular moment in time that you're describing a bit of a vacuum, nature abhors a vacuum, and in music, when we get one of these vacuums, and you and I have seen it before, during the disco period, during parts of the 80s, that vacuum sucks in a great new act like Nirvana, or it'll bring
Yeah.
in.
Absolutely.
And so
It's
I
true, it
think
does.
the negative part is we've got a little bit of that, no doubt, but the hopefulness that you expressed, I agree with you 100%. There's something that's
There's good stuff
about
going
to,
on.
some new Beatles, some new something's going to
No
come
question.
in that couldn't have existed without this valley
Yeah,
getting
and
us back up to the mountaintop.
not to say there hasn't been some great things. I mean, we were talking about Pharrell earlier with that Happy song. I mean,
Amazing.
well, that came on. This is different. I went,
Boom.
wow, this is great.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a cool thing. And every now and then there's something comes along like that
That game changes.
that
But-
you don't expect, which
Yeah.
is
I,
pretty cool
by the way,
thing.
Bob, I appreciate and applaud your courage for telling us about those concepts that you have, because it's, it takes courage to do that, doesn't it, Herm?
It does. It also takes courage for you as an athlete to take this ball and throw it that way and then watch it sail over the Sail over the
Yeah,
fence.
hopefully it won't mark the end of my career.
No, it
People
won't.
go, wow,
Would you be
He's
angry
really
if I
full
just
of crap.
skipped this one today?
No. We got to go through the pain, buddy. We talk a lot of stuff, so we got to step up to it.
Oh my
Fire
goodness.
away. First one.
Okay, Bob. Bass.
Yeah. What?
Good answer. Yep.
Oh, we're in the batter's box
Outta here.
thing.
Oh, okay.
So one word answer that comes to mind
whatever,
about
whatever.
bass.
Bass. 33609.
Ooh,
Nice.
Neve. Piano.
Piano. Pultec EQP 1A3. And a SSL compressor.
Ooh. GL384 or just the real one?
The rack-mounted one. I
I
don't
think
know
it's
what
a
it's called.
GL384.
Yeah, it's the SSL.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
Vocals.
As far as mixing, or nothing special. Oh, LA3A or 1176.
Okay. Clean sounding guitars.
What's that?
A clean sounding guitar.
Clean sounding guitar.
A jangly Springsteen guitar.
Pultec EQP 1A3.
Stereo bus.
Oh, SSL.
All day.
Bus compressor and the G plus.
Delays.
Okay, well, I've got a couple of old SD 3000 Rolands, and there's the Yamaha D5000, which nobody knows about.
Wow.
The Roland's, by the way, double as a coffee warmer, if you need
Yeah.
that. Plug-in.
Altiverb.
Okay. A rock guitar sound.
Rock guitar sound. SSL EQ, I guess.
Okay.
Springsteen's right hand.
And this will be an easy one. De-esser.
All right, well, that's complicated. You got about 20 minutes for me to explain that. There's a diagram of it on my website.
Really?
But it's a patch. It's not actually a de-esser that I use. I mean, I used the old DBX 902s, but of course you can't get those anymore. But for backing vocals and things like that, and for other things. But there's a patch that I do on the SSL.
And I want you guys to look it up. It's beautiful. Is the reason I brought it up.
It's like an automated de-esser, really.
Yeah. Cheapest gear that you've used on a hit.
SM57.
There you go.
Herb, I'm done.
You know the guy that comes up to you really quietly and goes, "Come with me,"
Yeah.
and then you just disappear.
Yeah.
It just happened to you.
He cleaned my clock. didn't
Well,
he?
but just in a very quiet and elegant way. Just, I'm going to kill you. I'm killing you. You're now
Bob
dead.
speaks through his records loudly, but
Yeah, but see, I got to watch the pain go across, and after about the third one, you were pretty much
Killing
over
you,
it.
I don't want to kill you. Dave, I really like you, man.
You found out too late. Let's introduce our man Chongor Gans in the newly sponsored corner office. Mr. Chongor went up to Las Vegas and sat with our girl Zoe Thrall
I love the
at
Palms.
Studio at the Palms and worked out an arrangement, and now they are the sponsor of corner office. Chongor, good for you.
Thanks so much, guys.
I think I've had like 4 or 5 #1 records I did at the Palms.
Absolutely, but this is now about Chongor.
No, it's Pensado's place.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So, Chongor, grab your moment. Do we have some questions for our guest?
Yeah, we got a bunch.
Okay, fire away, sir. Newly sponsored, sir.
This first one's from Damon Martin. Over the course of your career thus far, what turns out to be your go-to vocal chain for lead vocals?
It's not one.
You've done that one.
Yeah, it's, either an LA3A or a 1178. And SSL EQ, just a little whatever it takes.
Oh, you don't use an outboard EQ on vocals?
I don't.
But you use the E series EQ? or something?
E-series EQ on SSL,
Cool.
yeah.
Chongor, give us another one.
From Johannes Eberhard. With mixing stereo and surround at the same time, how do you set up your console to mix both formats while not compromising too much on the workflow?
Well, that's a
course.
Yeah, that really is a long.
I think what Johannes is asking is, does that impede your workflow?
No.
Trying to do both?
Oh, not
you
at
can
all.
do it both.
No, it's very simple. I mean, I put all the small faders at unity gain basically as I start out there, and then that feeds a post fader to the bus selectors, and then I select buses up there for the speakers for the different channels, and it's a bit more complicated than that. There's some tricky ways I do it.
Right.
But and then the small fader becomes a trim to the surround. So the main mix is the stereo, and the surround mix is sort of an extension of the stereo mix.
But you can't on your console. You can't automate the small faders. Is that a disadvantage?
No, but it's just following the main faders. It's a post fader
Gotcha.
sound.
Okay, I got you.
So it's just it becomes a trim. So if I want to turn something up in the back, I can adjust the ratios between the stereo and the surround, and then I just switch back and forth to what I'm listening to, and then it all prints at the same time.
But you can't DS in that mode, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can go to this website.
You still
and see
can?
how it-
Well, yeah, because it's the de-esser is working off the big fader, off the VCA.
Okay, I got you. That's the
Right.
beauty of an SSL. There's a million ways you can set it up.
It's really true.
And
It's so versatile.
You had a lot to do with that evolving from the B to the E.
No, not really. No, the first one I worked on was a B, but that just got me into SSL. The E was already being made, when I came up, when we bought one at Power Station, which was the first one in the United States, actually, and but that's why I liked it, because you could do so much with it so easily. Plus mine, of course, I modified the hell out of it. I got a lot of factory mods, and there's a lot going on in there.
Going back to Johannes' question, is there a board that you think would facilitate surround a little more readily and easily than the G?
I wish there was. I
That
get
is
it.
the best.
And if I had a computer that could do what the G series computer does, which I'm amazed at after all these years. I mean, the last software update was 1995.
Wow.
And nobody's come close yet.
And that's still a Motorola chip in that thing too.
It's old. It's just ancient. It was designed in the late 70s originally.
Wow.
It's been updated quite a bit, but
Chongor, give us another one.
From Pat Hundley. What was one mixing mistake you were making 20 years ago that you still shake your head at today?
That's a good one.
mixing mistake.
Coming on Pensado's place.
Might have been that. Might have been, yeah, right, yeah.
You'll regret that for the next 20. Why?
Yeah, well, I'm really going to regret this. My God. Might have been that Born in the USA snare drum. Because it was just a little over the top, I think. I mean, we just went, back in the 80s, it was all about how big can you make the snare drum. And Bruce really pushed it, too. Yeah. He goes, oh, make it bigger, make it bigger. But when I went to mix Robbie Robertson's first album, David Lanois, who produced it, told Robbie, oh, you don't want that guy with the Born in the USA. You're going to put that Born in the USA snare drum all over your record. And Robbie told me that. I was like, oh, my God, no, please.
It scarred me for life. It's following me. Wow. Chongor, you got another one?
Yeah. Champion. As a young engineer, what was the one experience that cemented your decision to continue pursuing this career?
One experience.
Getting hired.
It was, when the last band split up, I think. It was actually, it's funny because working in a recording studio was my A plan, and the last band I was in was the B plan. Because I traveled with my brother. We spent like 7 weeks or something like that traveling across the country to California, and I was going to get a job, because I'm originally from Connecticut.
Right.
I was going to try to get a job in a studio in California, in San Francisco, back in the
day, sure.
In the early 70s, San Francisco was the place, talking about reverb. And then I got a phone call from this guitar player who I was friends with back in Connecticut, and he said, look, we're putting this band together, you got to come back and play bass. And I went, all right, well, we'll give it one last shot. And then once that was over, then
Can I throw a little footnote? you played bass with the Dead Boys, a fairly well-known kind of undergroundy punk band. People don't know you got a little punk in you when you go down to sit down and mix. You still do. I can feel
I was a big punk rock fan. The late '70s, I was down at CB's and Max's every weekend.
Sure.
You know, I loved that stuff, and I produced a couple punk bands. I produced a band called the Tough Darts,
Yeah.
and let's see, there was another band called the Rosillos that were a Scottish band actually, and they were sort of a punk pop band, and I worked on some Ramones here and there a little
I
bit.
miss the Ramones.
And yeah, me too. I know they were great, and I just loved all that stuff. And
All those bands had good songs, though.
they had good songs,
Yeah.
and they were just fun. It was a reaction to the sort of prog rock of the '70s.
Well,
I
that
think it was
vacuum we're
very-
talking about,
Right.
let's draw it in.
It was just, man, you'd go in there. I remember walking into CBGB's and going in for the second set because I could never get. My girlfriend spent 5 hours getting ready at the time, so it was always we'd get there around
We
11.
need to go into the layer on that.
And so people would be coming out of the first set, and I kind of go, "Oh, how are the Ramones?" You know, and oh man, they were really fast tonight. They were really fast. It wasn't they were great. They were really fast. But it was just, and people just had a great. It was
Yeah, it was a
just a
different
fun
energy.
time. It was
Incredible
amazing energy.
One of the ways we gauge whether the show has just been good or not is that the time flies. This is about the fastest hour.
I know.
This is fun. It was really, I enjoyed this.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Can we just be a little greedy and say at some point in time your schedule permits, can we have you back?
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Are you
You
kidding?
ain't telling the truth.
Huh?
You ain't telling the truth.
It's on you, buddy. You better deliver it.
Okay, more yard work, more car washes,
Exactly.
more
guys-
console knob. Oh,
guys gotta-
speaking of knobs, go ahead.
I was gonna say you guys got to come on my show if I ever have
I would
one.
love to.
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
would
When
love
I
to.
get a show.
No, we'd love
I
to.
forgot, Herb. I've got a comrade in arms with this knob-loving affair I have. Bob loves knobs
Okay.
too, right, Bob? Mm-hmm. See, the greats like knobs.
Well,
Yes, that's right.
Can I
Absolutely.
conduct a little business on air? Because if you'd ever like to do a show, we could talk about that and create one for you. We're pretty good at it, so nothing would be more cool
That'd be sounding neat,
than
wouldn't
to
it?
have a Bob Clear Mountain show through our window.
Yeah, I don't want to
So-
take.
No,
take
we
spotlight
work it
away.
out. Trust me. But for now, we'll do that over lunch or something. We are just so honored, man. It's just such a great vibe, and I think instructive for our audience to know that no matter how much you know and how many widgets and gadgets and stuff you have, it comes back to taste and servicing the song and what feels right and going that way.
About the music, yeah. That's
Right.
right. Yeah, I think most guys that do what I do would say the same thing.
You are even better in person than the rep, man. It's such a pleasure. Dave, take us home.
Okay. Hey, guys, when you're starting your career out, make sure you're chasing the right things. You know, one of the threads that permeated today's show was about how important the song is, and our job as engineers is to bring out everything about the song that's good about the song. And like Bob said, kind of tuck away and hide some of the things that you don't need. And make sure that's your goal, and I think you'll come closer and quicker to getting your career goals met by using that philosophy. Just like Bob said, the gear comes and goes, trends come and go, but great records with great songs are here forever, and those are the ones you want to be a part of, because that's where legacy comes from, and nobody has done that better than Bob. So let him know that you enjoyed his segment on the show, and we'll see you next week.